everyone, it's me, Krista. Welcome back to my channel if you've been here before. If not, welcome for the very first time to my little art corner here on YouTube. Today is day 10 of Inktober, and today's prompt is the word pattern. The idea I had for this was a Harlequin type character. The original sketch is already done for this one. That's partially because I was doing thumbnail ideas in a sketch pad first, and I ended up really liking that idea, and I ended up tracing it against glass, against a window with some light coming through. My camera setup is not the best for doing that, especially with me holding up a piece of paper against glass in order to trace it. I have a webcam that has to be plugged into a computer in order to use it, and that just wasn't going to work out. What I am going to do, though, is insert the photos of the original thumbnail sketch I had, and then a couple of other ones, little stages, so you can get a little bit better idea of what actually went down. Started with the pencil sketch, and then used a Sharpie to get the black in there. I also ended up using a red Prismacolor. That's my very rough idea that I started with, and this is the result of the tracing that I did in order to copy it, but add a little bit more flow, make it a little prettier looking, and then this is the same sketch with more lines and more movement going on. And now we are back to the portion that I actually videotaped. For this, I am using some glassine to keep any smudges from my hand off of the paper. I'm trying not to smudge the pencil or the ink that I have laid down already. I am using a gray fine liner marker to start the lining process. Specifically, I am using the Derwent graphic line makers in 0.1, 0.3, and 0.5, and the color is graphite. I wanted to keep in some of the sketchiness that I had from the pencil. I really liked the look for this one. As you can see, I already used a red Prismacolor marker to put in some red points. The eyes, some dots around the eyes, the lips, and the eyebrows. I also thought that my Sharpie sketch was a little too rough, so I wanted to use the gray for a good chunk of it to soften up the look of it. I do end up pulling in black marker later. I end up pulling in a Marabu fine liner graphics in black, and then the same Kuretake marker I've been using for a lot of these projects. As I said earlier, I wanted the checkerboard pattern on the face and some of the makeup to resemble a sort of glamorous Harlequin. I also originally was intending for this swooping piece to be more of a clothing item, like a high fashion clothing item. That evolved as I kept drawing. It becomes more abstracted and turns into something that doesn't really look like clothing later, and I kind of enjoy how it ended up, even though it was not necessarily part of the plan. And I don't know necessarily what it's supposed to be, or if it makes sense. I do know that I liked how it ended up looking. I also wanted to use just markers for this one. I didn't want to use any of the liquid ink or any watercolor type techniques. I wanted to pull in and do something that had a lot more line work, and a lot of messy line work too. There were certain points when I was doing this where I wanted it to almost feel like using either a mechanical pencil with a lot of cross-hatching, or doing a ballpoint pen drawing without using a ballpoint pen. As I said earlier, I started with the graphite colored graphic markers first because I wanted to get a lot of the gray in, and I went between those and the black fine liner in order to build up a lot of texture. A lot of messy line texture going on. I was happy to be able to pull in those gray fine liners because I don't really use them very often. And for the idea I had for this one and wanting to keep the pencil sketch feeling to it, the gray markers helped out a lot with a lot of the softness of this piece. Now I'm starting to get into that swoopy, pointy, originally it was supposed to be clothing piece dealy going on. I'm using the gray fine liners there, and setting up a base texture is the best way I can describe what I'm doing. Like with the hair, I wanted to use the fine liners in order to create this almost ballpoint pen texture. I didn't want it to be smooth looking. I wanted the little bit of roughness going on. And I'm just trying to follow the lines I had set up as much as possible. And we're going between the gray liner and the black one, the thinner black liner. For the piece I'm working on now, there was a lot of improvisation that happens a little bit later. Like I said earlier, it started as attempting to be some kind of clothing piece, and it morphed from there, and I just kind of went with it. Sometimes you have to make plans on the fly and change things around. I think part of why it happened is because I wasn't happy with certain lines, and I wasn't happy with how the head connected to it, because it almost looked like it was just floating on this creepy looking black water. As I add in more of the black and get some textures later with the white gel pen that I pull in, that piece did end up reminding me a lot of just black, creepy looking water. And it specifically started reminding me of Little Nemo, the movie that came out like 89, I want to say it was. It's a cartoon I watched a lot when I was a kid. And there's a part where the Nightmare King sends this creepy black goo flood to basically destroy everything. And for some reason as a kid, that always freaked me out. And it's obviously something that stuck with me if I was randomly reminded of it when I haven't seen the movie in years now. But something I did vaguely reminded me of it, and then I started thinking, I have to watch the movie now. I started thinking about it, now I have to watch it again. If anyone else has seen the movie and remembers what I'm talking about, please let me know in that comment section down below. Now let's get back to talking about the actual drawing. This is the part where I started realizing that it does look like a head kind of detached and floating in a strangely shaped black water situation. So I started making plans to extend certain things and create a lot more texture. I also add in some white lines. The white lines I add in later were there to create the illusion of this roughly kind of top. So she has shoulders and a neck again, and then the rest of the design fades into the background slightly. It still feels like they could be part of her. Some abstracted, gooey looking wings. Maybe ink wings. I don't know. I don't know what she's supposed to be. I don't even know if she's supposed to be good or evil. I just know that I like it. I like how she ends up looking. I also know that she was supposed to start as a sort of high fashion Harlequin doll, and she ended up turning into this. There were certain points where I was like, oh, well, maybe she's supposed to be a glam rock type of thing. She ends up looking almost like some villain, or maybe not even a villain, some kind of character in some Japanese role-playing video game. Who knows? I don't. But whatever. I find it aesthetically pleasing at the end, and it matches the prompt. There's a pattern on her face, and there's some patterns going on with the abstracted background and her top and whatever. There's patterns. It's fine. I met the challenge. And this is what I mean by sometimes I literally don't have a thought process when I'm creating. There are just some points where I go, oh, well, this is a starting point, and there are little steps that happen, and then there's a point where I just jump off a giant ledge, and things just start happening, and I don't really know why. I just do it. And this is sometimes, I think, why artists have an issue talking about the creative process, or it becomes difficult to verbalize. Because there are situations where there isn't really a thought process happening. You're just creating and trying to verbalize that or put it into translating it into other means is nearly impossible. It's just there, and it happened, and it is what it is. All I can say is that I had a marker in my hand for certain parts of this, and just started doodling and freehanding, and just going to that place of not thinking about it, and just creating and just enjoying the process. Going to a happy place. And sometimes what you make is weird. And this is kind of weird. But I like it. And sometimes I think that's all that matters, is that you like the thing you made. And I like the thing I made. Even though at this point it still just looks like a head floating in some creepy water. that changes soon. Not immediately, but soon. What I'm currently doing in the drawing is going between the 2 black markers and the white gel pen to further define certain aspects, throw in some extra texture, and just redefine some of the things that I've got going on at this point. I start realizing that it just looks like a floating head, and here I'm going to start adding in some shoulders after I thicken up some extra lines. There are the shoulders. And I start following the lines I already have set up to create the illusion of this very textured top that she has on. I go over it with the white gel pen to add some extra layering and to differentiate it from the background abstracted area. I think doing this made the pieces feel as though they were more connected. It made more sense than what I had previously had going on. And of course I have to add in more white lines and texture the heck out of it. Just what I gotta do, I have a problem. Gotta keep doing some texture. Well, this rambly video is almost over. That is the finished drawing right there. If you liked this video, please feel free to hit that like button. If you have any comments, questions, feelings, or concerns, let me know in that comment section down below. If you want to see more videos like this, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day or night to watch this video, listen to me ramble about art stuff, and some not so art related stuff. I really look forward to hearing from you guys soon, and you'll definitely be hearing from me soon. Bye, everybody!